voicemail.
Wow. I'm trying to come to terms with this. Right? That they never defend me, and it resulted in me being that phenomenon of me being without a defender. Okay, here she's calling.
County jail.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
how are you?
So I wanted to get the write up that you gave the person that you know to give the retiring judge.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I want to share it until we see what the judge is going to do with it. It's really just a countdown of what happened. That when they released you from Monmouth Medical, and then you were at Paul's, and then you got arrested. It doesn't say why you got arrested or how you got arrested. None of that. It's just a documentation of that the medical facility released you, then the cops arrested you, then you were in jail, and then you had a hearing, and you did not have a public defender. And then the next hearing, you didn't have your psych evaluation. It's more about not having the psych evaluation that they asked for it to begin with, was my big gripe. And it's just like kind of like a documentation of how that happened.
Did you mention the first attorney that I talked to, who represented me at the bail hearing, hung up the phone with me when he was trying to get information for me to fill out the form for an attorney?
So this is the thing, Eric. This is why I didn't want to get into it with you. I just gave like the facts of what happened. Now you should write an additional story of your personal, how it affected you personally, like things like that story about.
Okay. So one of the things,
and also describing how you were treated at the jail. Those things should be documented too.
well, one of the things that happened was that I talked to an attorney over the phone at the jail when they first brought me in February, and he was trying to get me to fill out an application for a lawyer. And he said that he was from the public defender's office to represent me at the bail hearing, and that he had a form for me to give him information for. And one of the questions was my email address. And I said, "Why do you need my email address? I'm in jail. Can you answer my questions that I have about who is my accuser and why am I in jail for a misdemeanor allegation?" And he hung up the phone on me before he got any of my side of the story of what happened at Rutgers Hillel. So that was why there wasn't an attorney for me, because the first attorney that I talked to, who represented me at the bail hearing, hung up the phone on me. It turns out he was getting information for me having Vern represent me. So did you mention in your rundown of events that the attorney hung up the phone on me before?
Now, see, that's the stuff that I did not mention at all, because that was your experience, and that's what you need to write about. And because you want to keep your audience interest. You don't want to make it like a personal story. This is what went wrong, or this is not even, I didn't even say this went wrong. This is just what happened.
Right. Yeah. So that's something that I want. Right. That's what I want to.
If you want to add on to that by telling your personal story, please do that.
Right. So that wasn't my personal story. That was a story of the justice system. That's why I didn't have an attorney there. And
okay, so you could write about that.
So could you just send me? Right. Okay. Could you just send me? I just want to see what you did write, and go over it with my therapist, because one of the things that we're focusing on is the dynamic between my parents and the problems that arise in my life.
Yeah, the problem is that I told you about this. I should have never told you about this. This is my thing that I am doing. I don't want to be don't want to be berated. I don't want to be talked down to for what I did.
So I just wanted,
That's what I'm going to avoid.
right. So it would help me in my life to show my therapist. The judge that you know through someone, um, and told a little bit about my experience, would probably drop his interest if he doesn't know the fact that the lawyer hung up on me over the phone before getting any of the mitigating factors of the case. The whole thing is a mitigating factor. So the judge would probably stop looking into my case and have the same conclusion that the court had, that I was erratically trying to get out of jail because people don't like jail, and I was trying to be my own Perry Mason. But the fact is that I never had Perry Mason talk to me. Perry Mason hung up the phone on me because I had too many questions. And you have hung up the phone on me and threatened to hang up the phone on me so many times that I'm not comfortable talking to you over the phone.
Okay, so if you want to talk about this at the therapist with me, I
Great.
will come to your therapy appointment. I was just trying to do something to help the justice system be aware of what happened.
Yeah.
In the simplest of terms.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
then if you want to take it farther, then you can give more details from your perspective.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just saying I have to share the fact that you sent a partial letter that omitted this key part of my case.
See now you're critiquing what I wrote. You have that you're not listening. You're not hearing that is not what this was about. And I don't want it to become that. And I don't want to be made wrong for what I wrote. I did not write your part of the story. You have to write your part of the story.
Yeah, see, that was the problem. That's why I was in jail for six months and 7 days, because it's honestly part of the public story that I didn't have anyone to talk to about the fact that the lawyer hung up the phone on me while I was supposed to be filling out the form.
So why did you write that story, and we'll get it to the judge?
I'm going to do like a video on YouTube with it.
Okay.
Right, honestly, including this phone call, because no one else would believe me that literally you didn't include something that caused the one person who was looking into it probably to just lose interest, because he developed the same perspective that the court developed. That's the entire state of New Jersey. So I called Dad the other day, and I was talking to him about the problem that I was having last year around this time in December and January, where they were having all-night parties that would get erratically loud throughout the night, and I wasn't sleeping more than 60 minutes. And Dad said he would call to try to get rid of the overnight parties. He would call to encourage the laying down of the law, to say you can't have any more overnight parties like this, if I was 18 years old and living in a dormitory. But the fact that I'm 31 years old at that time, I should have been able to tell my own story in a way that would enact justice. And that didn't make any sense to my therapist either. He says, what's the difference if you're 18 years old or you're 32 years old? If you have something that a hurdle that you can't overcome by yourself and you're totally at your wit's end, at least sit down and talk to Eric about what the problem is. Come to learn what the problem is, which is what the attorney who hung up on me didn't do. So this lack of patience that people have with me, and the fact that I'm here in the first place, a lot of it does trace back to me being alone without an advocate and somebody just having the temper to hang up the phone on me when I'm completely in the right. It's just unusual that I would be in a situation and need a devil's advocate on my behalf. So it's a big part of why I'm here, why New Jersey paid, probably like $20,000 or more for this whole case this year that took up 6 months and 7 days, because I didn't even have an advocate in the lawyer. The lawyer hung up the phone on me. And that's what moved the case back to Judge Corson, who hates me. Yeah, that pieces together a lot of my puzzle, and I want to thank you for sharing with me the good and the bad about it.
If this gets anywhere, and if they would like some more information, we'll go from there.
Okay, but I just want to try to express some disappointment that when I texted you about this, you said twice that like you'd call me back, and that just felt really empty. That like I'm trying to figure out whether you included in the story that you told of my events, the events that I was going through,
I
and
didn't tell your events. I told the scenario of the jail thing. Okay, honey. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think we've discussed it. We both
okay.
understand where we stand.
Right.
And I love you very much. And let's see what the judge does with this, and then maybe we can take it to the next level.
Could I reach out to the judge?
No, we're not keeping anything personal. There's no names. There's not. They don't even know what jail, what judge. So I didn't put any names of anything in there.
So why did you send it?
To point out the failings of the justice system and the jail's system.
So not to help me specifically.
Of course it's to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it's to help you and many others that suffer the same failings of our system.
But the thing is, my failings was because I had too many questions for
Okay,
the.
so please write that story.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Okay, great. I'll talk to you tomorrow, honey.
No, I don't want to talk to you over the phone. You hang up the phone on me. You left me completely in the cold last year when I had a problem getting more than 60 minutes sleep per night, and you told me that if you come to me.
We go over this again and again. That was last year. This is now, and I love you, and I hope you get a good night's sleep tonight.
I don't want to talk to you over the phone tomorrow, so please don't assume
Okay, fine.
that.
Just say good night.
I want to say just one more sentence than just good night. That
Okay.
you're showing signs of having a problem on your side of the street with this. That
Okay.
yeah, I
You should just get over it.
Okay. Let's not make this a fight. Okay, please.
right. Listen, Mark just got aggressive yelling at me.
Yeah,
That
that's right. I'm tired of listening to you.
Okay.
Forget about it. It's past.
Okay.
She wrote what she wrote. It was based on her understanding of things what happened, not on your account. She didn't write your account of what happened. She wrote her account of what happened.
right. Yeah, and I needed. Yeah, it was in.
You can write what you want to write, and she'll talk about this, what she wrote, with your therapist and you at that time, if that's what you want.
Yeah, Mark, just keep in mind that, like, I was in jail for 6 months and 7 days
I know,
because.
it's a terrible thing. It shouldn't have happened. I absolutely agree with you on that.
Right, but the fact that I was in solitary confinement for that period, I was the only one who could tell my story. So I
Don't
did.
tell your story.
Mhm.
I want you to tell your story. I'm going to say good night now. You can start working on your story. I love you. Good night.
Okay, good night.